I think the real problem with performance marketing and B2B that a lot of people don't talk about is for the past decade, it's worked really well because one, acquisition costs were actually fairly cheap in these channels. So you could run these channels and actually ignore some of the inefficiencies of them because it was relatively cheap to actually pay for that distribution. But two things have actually happened. One, I think everybody knows, acquisition and running ads and things like that is not as cheap as it once was. But the reason it's not as cheap now is because there's also not new channels forming. So one big luxury we've had as B2B marketers over the past decade is the amount of new channels that have come into play that we could leverage that helped reduce acquisition costs, right? Google started taking off, then YouTube came in, then Facebook came in, now LinkedIn came in for a while, right? And now all these channels have actually reached a saturation point where we're all running ads in these channels now. There's no new channels forming to keep acquisition costs in check. And we're all kind of running the same playbook. So you have this perfect storm forming where it's just getting unsustainable now in its current state. I think there's a few issues, right? There's still this mindset with performance marketing, I think, that it's something that you just turn on. It's definitely somewhat at the executive level, which it is that easy, right? Hey, we get performance going, you turn that on, and we should start generating leads and conversions and revenue and things like that. And I think this mindset also happens because I think we get in the assumption because our competitors are running this stuff that, well, it has to be working, right? Executives start seeing their competitor ads like, well, shit, they're running LinkedIn ads and they're on Google and now they're going after our brand name. Like, this has to be working for them. Like, why isn't it working for us? We are doing something wrong. And the biggest thing that then happens is people go straight into the tactical level then with their performance marketing, which is, if it's not working, it has to be performance marketing. It has to be the ads. It has to be this landing page. It has to be the keyword we're targeting. It has to be the audience. And transparently, that's like one of the biggest reasons I actually started this agency is because I started in performance marketing. Like, my real marketing career started in performance marketing. And it took me several years as I continually watched as everybody thought that we had an ad problem. We continually cycled through that I finally realized, like, our biggest challenge is we just don't have the message and story straight. And that's why these channels are really failing us at sustaining and scaling. So I think you're kind of going up against those two buckets, right? Which is probably why we're doing this a little bit, like the intersection of performance and I think messaging.